Well, hello, friends, family, loved ones, and my grandchildren who get to watch this stuff. Welcome to blog number 13 of the life and adventures of Captain Larry and Kibo. So, I've got some more questions that I'm going to answer, but my brother, he said, you got to tell him the story because I mentioned diving because I'm a dive master. And, well, my brother Wayne and I, we were diving about 20 years ago at Fort Weatherall in Jamestown, Rhode Island. And we're in about, 50 feet of water. And we're just looking around the bottom, watching fish and seeing if we find things that fell off people's boats and things like that. We used to enjoy that. Well, I look over, and it's really important to have a buddy when you go diving. You really never dive alone, especially if you're new. So they teach you, hey, you've got to have a dive buddy. Well, I look over, because we're always doing this. Hey, okay, checking out, can't talk under there. So you go like this, and then somebody goes like that, and you say, hey, yeah, you're both okay. Well, I turn around. My brother's going backwards. And I said, what the heck? Well, something had caught him. Somebody was fishing in a fishing line, and they hooked him, and they thought they had a big fish, and they're pulling him. So I get my knife out, and I'm swimming like heck to catch him and cut the line. So finally, I get to him, and I cut the line, and we came up out of the water, and there was two women, very strong women, that they didn't speak English because we didn't understand what they were saying, but my brother's going, hey, that's no way to catch a man, lady. But just, if he wasn't with me, he could have got hurt, if he didn't have a dive buddy. So that's important to have a dive buddy. So I got some questions. These are, when you travel on a boat, how do you travel? Well, the best thing always is to make sure that you travel on a high tide, especially if you're inland like Jersey, the Jersey ICW, in the coastal waterway, ICW, because the tides get high and low. Now, when you get a high tide, of course, you've got more water under you. And here's another thing a lot of people don't know. The highest tide is when you've got a full moon, but also it's your lowest tide. So if you're traveling in not so deep water, you definitely want to make sure you don't travel at low tide and a full moon. Anchoring. Here I got, by the way, I got a story about anchoring and critters next week that you're not going to believe. Happy spring to everybody, by the way. It's the 20th of March, first day of spring. Oh man, I got a critter story for next week, but I don't want to use up all of the time. Okay, you look at your charts when you're traveling, going back to travel. You have to watch out for sunken objects and rocks. You could be in 20, 30 feet of water, but if you're not watching your chart, which you'll have a little mark and it'll say obstacle, it could be a sunken boat. It could be and there's a lot of sunken boats. It could be a rock. So really, you always be diligent about where you're going. Somebody asked me, what apps do I use? Good question. And by the way, my friend Phoenix, who I haven't really met in person, is a boater in Florida, and he's been asking a lot of the questions. He's actually got a great nursery. He's a master at plants, and he's got a website. And one day, I'll send that to you. But if anybody wants it, I can. If you send it to me, an email or something, I will make sure you get it. He also has some products. He's natural, believes in a lot of the natural things with plants and whatnot. Like myself, I have a master's in herbology from the School of Natural Healing. He's at that level also. And he's got some good products. So if you're going to anchor, you want your anchor to be out at least 3 times your depth. In other words, if you're in 10 feet of water, you want to put 30 feet of anchor line out, and you want to have chain. If you've got chain, you got to put chain on the first part of your anchor anyway, because you really want that anchor to hold down. Back to the apps that I use, because I'm bouncing all over the place. Maybe a little ADHD today, I don't know. So I use Windy, W-I-N-D-Y. That will give you wind, rain, and you put it in your phone, and it looks at your location, and you can judge the wind, the depth of the water, the height of the waves, the wind, the direction, precipitation. Really good weather app to have, Windy. And you could have it at your own home too and play with it at home, because it'll tell you all about the wind in your area. Another app that I have is Navionics. Navionics, actually, it will help create a route. Don't follow the line thinking it'd be like trying to follow your GPS if it says turn right here and you turn into a store window. Use it as a complement to your charts. But if your charts break down, you always got Navionics, and I think it's like $14 a year. And then I've got Active Captain as well. I also have a artist blog that I've been doing. I'm going to be teaching some art classes, and like I said, my website, LawrenceO'LearyJR.com, LawrenceO'LearyJR.com. I used to do contests. Guess the name of this painting, and you win something. I'm going to be doing that very soon. I'm working on putting it together. Insurance on your boat. That was another question. You can't even get into some marinas for one night unless you bring in your insurance, and that's $300,000 to $500,000 you need to have insurance. And a lot of it is for spillage too. If you break a oil leak or something and you make a slick on the water, that could be millions of dollars. Get yourself insurance. It's relatively reasonable for a boat. Also, if you're going to go out on the water, get yourself a towing package. I use Boat US. It costs me about $150 a year. If your engine's broke down, if you're stuck, they will come out and get you and tow you back to your marina, or tow you to safety, or tow you to a repair facility. Definitely get that insurance. It's kind of like getting AAA for your car. There's Boat US and there's Towboat US. Sometimes your boat insurance will also cover towing. Channels 16 and channels 9 are what you want to monitor on your radio. Channel 16 will connect you right to the Coast Guard. So if you're in trouble, you get on channel 16 and you say, hey, I'm in trouble here, and the Coast Guard will help you. You can also say on channel 16, hey, I need a tow, and then Towboat or your particular insurance carrier will come on and they'll connect you. Channel 9 is most commonly used when you're pulling into the docks to talk with dock hands. Hey, I'm coming in. This is Sea Dragon, and I'm about a mile out. Is you got any dock hands that can help me tie up? Things like that. And one of the most important things that you need to know is there's only one thing that's constant on the water, and that's change. Things change. There's a little trick. You learn to read the clouds, watch some videos. But if within 15 minutes, if the wind changes direction 3 times in 15 minutes, you get a storm coming. Get yourself to safety somewhere. Anyway, my friends, my family, my fellow artists, my fellow boaters, and my fellow musicians. One of the greatest things, this is my art studio, and the old saying, I got to get a bigger boat. Oh, I could use a boat at least twice this size, because all the way down there is all the art I've been working on. I always keep my guitar right next to my chair, and when I play, Kibo likes to crawl right up in my lap and listen. Right, bud? So, anyway, friends, family, I love you all. I miss you all. And I get a big hug from my buddy. He's a good boy. Yeah, he's a good boy. Yeah, he is. I look forward to seeing you next week. Great stories to tell.